Senator Jason Allen, the
Good
Republican
morning.
from Traverse City, bright and early here on the
Yes.
television and on the radio. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too. And going to be another beautiful day and a pure Michigan weekend.
Yeah, we're getting to summer. Everybody tells me the summer's going too quickly,
Absolutely.
and I'm sure it went quickly for you.
Absolutely.
Ed Sarpolus is on the phone with us as well. Good morning, Ed. Ed Sarpolus, can you hear me? Tony, can you reconnect with him? He was waiting quite a while there on hold, and maybe his line dropped out. Your name is still being bandied about as a potential running mate for Rick Snyder, as near as I can tell, according to this morning's
Sure.
Press. Are you?
I think it was announced last night, isn't it, Mr. Calley going to be the
Well,
lieutenant?
I don't think it's official, but
That's supposedly the name that has been sort of purported out there
Yeah.
and been very actively discussed about it.
Brian, he's a
And
state
so
representative running for state
representative,
senator.
right. His background, he's from the West Michigan area, has been a solid player within the House and has done a good job there. One of his areas of expertise is tax policy. He was one of the architects of the Michigan business tax, and is somebody that is a very good technical person, and has strong financial area of expertise. Which
Comes
is
from
something-
banking.
Yeah,
33 years old.
Yes, young man, going to be a good nominee.
So, according to what you're hearing, that is going to happen today. There will
That's
be an
what
announcement.
That's my understanding as far as things going on, and I think Mr. Calley will do a good job. And, with his background with the Michigan business tax, I think that brings some strength to the table.
Will Michael Trabish then get the opportunity to run for Senate there?
What the issue is that is a process that goes in place. There are certain rules that have to go for that nomination process. The nomination process will first have to take place this weekend at the Republican State Convention. After that, the replacement, and this is very similar to what they did with Connie Binsfeld, John Pridnia, they will have a meeting of the of the Senate District executive committees, and that will be based on that nomination process that goes on. Trebish would be one. I know that there's a variety of other candidates. I've heard Scott Hummel's name kicked around, and so that would be a decision that would be made by the party of nomination. Same thing would happen if it was an open in the Democratic seat.
How how angry would you be if you were Michael Trabish, having spent all of that money in that primary, and then to have the guy that beat you step aside and you not get the spot?
That is a decision that is made, and certainly there is a decision made by the local parties, and that is a nomination process that comes from those executive committees of the counties involved. And I think that's what a 4-county Senate seat.
Do you think that Brian Calley, well, we'll ask him when we talk to him, but do you think he's surprised that Rick Snyder came looking for him?
Well, I think the aspect of what Brian brings to the table, again, is sort of his expertise on the business taxes. And, he was certainly one of the key architects in the Michigan business tax. He has been a team player. I know Representative Elsenheimer speaks very highly of him in what he has been able to accomplish, and has been a team player.
So what they're saying, what Rick Snyder is really saying by picking Brian Calley, who has a banking background in the Michigan business tax, is it's the economy, stupid.
That's been what I've been campaigning. If you go back to look at his 10 points, and his 10 points are talking about what you need to do to put respect back in Michigan, what you need to be doing to bring the state forward, what you need to be doing to get businesses back to work, streamlining government, protecting the environment. He fits right into that wheelhouse.
Does Calley have juice in the legislature? I mean, can he be a leader?
Well, but the situation you've got to look at it is it's the relationships. And
I guess that's what I mean by juice. People listen to him, they'll follow him.
That is true. And then I think the other thing that's more important is if you take a look at the Senate, there's 31 senators approximately that are term limited out. And so he is going to be having a relationship with those members because he served with the incoming senators, and a fairly good relationship with House members.
Okay. According to Senator Allen, it'll be confirmed later today that Brian Calley will be the running mate of Rick Snyder. He is 33 years old, state representative running for state senate. We'll get Ed Sarpolis' opinion of this choice as soon as we get back. It's Michael Patrick Shields all across Michigan. I'm with State Senator Jason Allen. It's Michael Patrick Shields. He's the Republican from Traverse City. Ed Sarpolis is with us, too, the Director of Government Affairs for the Michigan Education Association. Good morning, Mr. Sarpolis.
Good morning to you.
Thanks for hanging around with us this morning. What do you think of the choice of Brian Calley for Lieutenant Governor?
From a Republican perspective, he's young, sharp, attractive, and intelligent. I've known him for a long time. Somebody down in the legislature. He was nearly House Minority Leader for Councilmember's job, and he's also been rumored to, if he hadn't taken his position, to become Senate Majority Leader. And also he appeals to the conservative portion of the Republican Party. He's right to life. He's pro-part-time, pro-term limits. And so he has all those credentials that some people question on Rick Snyder. The only interesting thing is the fact is that he hasn't boxed him and he hasn't taken a no-tax pledge. So he gives himself flexibility, but also very conservative. From a Republican perspective, very sharp candidate.
Having said all of that, is he a surprise choice?
Now, he's been rumored and discussed for leadership in a number of different posts. So
Okay.
Those of us who have been around,
Yep.
the fact that he was picked, I mean, that's always a surprise. But no, he's been rumored now for several weeks as being on the list of someone that they were looking at.
The Detroit News is reporting this morning that people are turning down Virg Bernero when he talks to them about being vetted as his running mate. Is that part of the normal process, or is it unusual to hear big names like guys from General Motors and the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy and the Skillman Foundation saying thank you, no thank you?
Well, that's normal. He's trying to reach out to these people. A lot of these people have very good jobs, very high, powerful positions and high-paying positions, and they're always flattered to be considered. But normally I would expect that, as in past years, to actually turn down those requests by a candidate.
They say some people that the Mayor Bernero is trying to figure out how to get an outsider into the act so that they can't label him a career politician. He wants some of that juice that Snyder has as the outsider. Is that fair to say in his selection of a running mate?
No, if you see the whole list that's been discussed of who he's picking, it's not all the outsiders. It's basically who best fits working with him, who has knowledge of the horses, and also looking at other issues. Does he want gender balance? Does he want racial balance? Does he want business balance? I mean, the outsider thing is the going thing right now because that's what everybody's talking about. But from the road industry, Virg Bernero is looking at a wide array of candidates, not just because they're outside of government.
Okay. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. We'll talk again soon, Ed Sarpolus.
Okay, take care.
Director of Government Affairs for the MEA. Now, I'm bringing in Steve Yencich here from the Michigan Hotel and Lodging Association. Mr. Yencich, Senator Allen.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And are we going to have a pure Michigan weekend?
I certainly hope so. I've been looking at the weather reports. I think we will. Every time, it's been a wonderful summer, as you know, Senator.
Oh, it's been great.
When we cook up the downstate regions, people flood to the north.
It's been a very prosperous summer in so many of the resort areas, and so it's been great.
What is this business now about Pure Michigan being tied to Club Keno ads? Can you explain the lottery link to Pure Michigan?
Well, House Bill 6177 would make available advertising space on those Keno Club tickets, and from the proceeds of those advertisement sales, that money would be targeted for the Pure Michigan campaign. So we certainly are very appreciative of the proposed legislation. It did come out unanimously from that committee, but I believe the Senate or the House Fiscal Agency indicated that it would have a minimal impact in terms of actual proceeds being garnered.
Yeah, Steve, what are they talking about as far as numbers on that? Because I've heard a couple different rumors.
Something, projected revenues of somewhere around $18 million, but that ad space has been made available since 2005, and there's unfortunately been very little interest expressed by the market.
So every time somebody buys a Keno ticket, the ad would be on it?
My understanding is it correct? It would be on the television screen at the different bars and restaurants?
That may well be the case. So, I mean, I came across the legislation. I was reading one of the Capitol newsletters last night and saw that had come up before the committee. So, quite honestly, my knowledge of the issue is a little less than usual.
Is there reason to think that by the time this year is done, there will be permanent funding for Pure Michigan?
I think a lot will depend on what the initiatives are going to be coming from Leader Dillon, Leader Bishop, and the governor. Certainly this is a priority to get permanent funding, and it is one of the keys for long-term sustainability of the third largest industry. The question gets into is what is going to be happening on lame duck, and that's anybody's call at this point in time.
Do we know where Rick Snyder stands on Pure Michigan?
I know that he's been pro-tourism, but whether it's specific on what type of a funding mechanism he's going to be using, I don't know.
And Steve Yencich, you've got your event coming up in September, your legislative breakfast?
Correct, on Wednesday, September 22nd, and we hope to flood the Capitol with tourism folks from across the broad spectrum of our industry. I think Senator Allen is right. There's a growing consensus, a growing sense of support on the need to provide consistent funding for Pure Michigan, and we just have to rally around and figure out exactly what that mechanism is going to be.
Where will you both be Labor Day weekend?
I'm going to be up north enjoying the sunshine, probably
course.
a weekend on Elk Lake.
Elk Lake, and Mr. Yencich?
I will be on the shores of Birch Lake, not too far from Elk.
All right, and I may be on Mackinac Island and do the bridge walk for the first time, so we'll talk more about that next week,
great.
even if it's by phone. 3 minutes before the hour. Thank you, Mr. Yencich. Thank you, Senator Allen. More of your Wednesday morning after this.